Hello, my friends. Let's continue with Daniel's adventure. Every step was cautious. They skirted giant footprints, avoided the stench of predators. By night, they carved out small hollows to sleep, taking turns on watch. Days passed. At last, looming before them, a colossal cliff wall, jagged and weathered, scarred by storms and time. It rose like an ancient warrior, defiant against the sky. Daniel and Peta stood in awe. Then, with quiet resolve, they prepared, dividing rations, checking their water, tying rough ropes tight around their waists. Ahead awaited their greatest trial yet, the climb. The climb began. Fingers clung to jagged stone, toes searching desperately for the tiniest footholds. Every few yards, Daniel and Peta paused on narrow ledges, gulping air before pushing higher. Nights were spent curled inside cracks of rock, shivering in the cold. 2 days passed. Then, a vast shadow swept across the cliff. Daniel turned. His heart froze. A falcon, wings spread wide, talons gleaming like knives, dove straight at them. Pinned halfway up the wall, there was nowhere to run. Peta, whispering, "This time, we're finished." The brothers shut their eyes, bracing for death. But just as the talons neared, voice, OS, "Stop. They are our kin." The falcon jerked upward, circling once before landing on a ledge above. Its golden eyes glared down, sharp and watchful. Daniel and Peta scrambled upward with frantic strength, sweat pouring down their backs. They hauled themselves onto the ledge, then froze. 3, 4 tiny figures leapt from the falcon's back, cloaks whipped in the wind, movements confident and swift. One stepped forward, smiling firmly. "Warrior, welcome. This is the domain of the Falcon tribe." The strangers bowed slightly. Their leader, a broad-shouldered man cloaked in eagle feathers, introduced himself. "Sam. I am Sam, patrol chief of the Falcon tribe." Sam explained. Their people had lived upon the cliffs for generations, hidden from the giants. "Tribesmen. Here, falcons are our friends. From the moment they hatch, we raise them, feed them, train them. When they grow, we hunt together, share food, survive as one." Daniel and Peta stared, stunned, at the massive bird still perched nearby. Sensing their awe, one warrior chuckled, patting its wing. "Warrior, do not fear. They are our companions, and will be yours as well." They invited the brothers onto the falcon's back. At first, Daniel and Peta fumbled clumsily, slipping, gripping too lightly at the thick, sleek feathers. Laughter erupted around them until 2 warriors hoisted them up. Then the falcon spread its colossal wings. Whoosh! A hurricane of wind struck their faces. Their stomachs lurched as the ground fell away. Terror gave way to exhilaration. Daniel and Peta screamed with wild joy, eyes shining at the breathtaking vista. The cliff face stretching endlessly like a living wall of stone. The falcon soared, wings spanning wide enough to blot out the sky. Sunlight flashed across its silver-grey plumage. Every beat of its wings stirred whirlwinds below. For the first time, the brothers were riders of the air. They landed at the yawning mouth of a cavern carved deep into the cliff. Other falcons perched nearby, claws dripping with blood, beaks holding fresh prey. Warriors rushed forward, dividing the spoils, half for families, half offered reverently back to the falcons. The cavern was vast, torches painting warm light across rough stone. Homes of wood and hide clung to ledges, bridges of rope linking chambers where children dashed across without fear. Women wove nets. Children tumbled with fledgling falcons. Men sharpened stone blades for the next hunt. Life here brimmed with freedom and pride. Petter's voice trembled. Petter Daniel. Could this be the promised land? Sam only chuckled softly, shaking his head. That night, fire blazed. Rocks became banquet tables, piled with roasted meat. Music and song shook the cavern walls. Daniel thought this feast was for their arrival. But no. The people laughed. "Warrior, every night we return alive is reason enough to celebrate." Petter burst into laughter. "Petter, this is paradise!" He leapt into the dance, twirling with falcon maidens, while warriors roared with mirth. Sam poured Daniel a cup of fermented drink, eyes steady in the firelight. "Sam, tell me, what road have you walked to come here?" Daniel shared their journey, the forests, the giants, their hope of reaching the promised land. He unrolled the worn map. Sam studied it, then drank deeply. "Sam, I have heard that name countless times. I have seen this map before. Since my youth, many have come, just like you, hearts burning with hope. They spoke of the promised land at the world's end." He stared toward the cavern's mouth, where falcons tore at their share of meat. His voice darkened. "Sam, but I have never seen one return. They go and vanish. Perhaps the land is real, so wondrous no one comes back. Or perhaps it is only a dream, an illusion we tell ourselves." He turned back, eyes gentle yet heavy with sorrow. "Sam, I will not urge you forward, nor will I stop you. But know this, once you walk that path, there may be no road home." Silence fell. The fire crackled. Sam's words sank deep like stones into Daniel's heart. That night, after the feast ended, Petter snored drunkenly. Daniel lay awake, staring into the dark, Sam's warning echoing in his mind. The cavern bustled with life. Men brushed feathers, checked talons, tightened harnesses. Others sharpened weapons, fastened baskets. Falcons rustled their wings impatiently, sensing the hunt ahead. Daniel and Petter ran forward, eyes wide with eagerness. "Petter, please, teach us. Let us help." The young warriors laughed at their clumsy enthusiasm, but welcomed them kindly. Hands guided theirs, stroking feathers smooth, feeding scraps of meat to chicks, whistling short signals that made the giant birds tilt their heads in response. Even the falcons themselves lowered their golden eyes, bowing slightly, acknowledging their new friends. Then, a powerful gust tore through the cavern mouth. Whoosh! A falcon swooped down, kicking up a storm of dust and stone. A tribesman leapt from its back, face pale, breath ragged. Messenger, tripping over words. Disaster! Hunting squad 2. 2 of our falcons were attacked by eagles, massive beasts, talons like blades. One is gravely wounded, the other lost in the clouds. The cavern fell silent. Only the restless beating of falcon wings echoed against the stone. Daniel and Petter shivered. For the first time, they realized, even these mighty allies were not invincible. Sam's voice thundered. "Sam, prepare for battle." Chaos erupted. Warriors seizing bows, ropes, stone spears. Falcons stamped and screeched, awaiting command. Daniel and Petter dashed after Sam. Sam, grim, explaining. Last year they appeared. 2 giant eagles, double the size of falcons, vicious beyond reason. They steal prey, claim territory, strike at both bird and man. Our arrows cannot pierce their armor of feathers. At best, we drive them off. But to kill them? We've never found the way. Daniel and Petter clenched fists. Daniel and Petter. "We'll go too. We're not afraid of death." Sam frowned. Then, seeing their blazing eyes, sighed heavily. "Sam, so be it. But you obey my command." Moments later, an aerial armada took flight. Dozens of falcons spread colossal wings, each carrying 5 tiny warriors armed and ready. At Sam's signal, the flock surged upward, a storm of feathers and wind. High above, two vast shadows wheeled, eagles, enormous and merciless. One screeched and dove straight for Sam's mount. Sam, hold, tight. He yanked the reins. The falcon rolled, narrowly avoiding slashing talons. Wind howled, steel-bright claws grazed within a heartbeat. Sam, fire. Arrows loosed. Dozens of shafts glittered in sunlight, striking, but bouncing uselessly from thick plumage. Sam roared above the storm. Sam, aim for its head. The next volley found its mark. Arrows bit around the eagle's eye. It shrieked, wings thrashing, gale-force winds scattering the formation. The second eagle struck, talons slicing the sky like scythes. But the falcon riders, drilled by countless battles, wheeled aside, circling tighter, weaving a deadly net. Warriors, shouting in unison, loose. Again the sky rained arrows. This time, several pierced dangerously close to the eyes. Both eagles screeched, veering upward, climbing desperately. Then, beaten for now, they flapped wide wings and vanished into cloud, their cries fading into the blue. The warriors counted heads, a few scrapes, a few torn feathers, but no deaths. Relief mixed with dread. Sam stood at the cavern mouth, gaze hard on the horizon. Sam, we drove them off today, but we did not slay them. As long as they live, this cliff will never be safe. Daniel's fists tightened. Daniel, we can't just chase them forever. There must be a way to end it. Sam shook his head wearily. Sam, we tried. Brave men leapt onto their backs, striking at close range, but they were thrown aside like leaves in a storm. To fight them head-on is impossible. Daniel's eyes glinted. Daniel, if we cannot fight them head-on, then we lay a trap. Sam narrowed his eyes. Sam, a trap. What kind of trap? Daniel only smiled faintly. Daniel, you'll see. But first, let me ride one falcon. I need to study the cliffs, the terrain. Sam studied him in silence, then gave a sharp whistle. A massive falcon swooped down. A rider was already mounted, reins in hand. Sam swung up onto its back, then extended a hand to Daniel. Sam, come. I'll show you the summit. A falcon spreads its massive wings. With a single thrust, the bird and its three tiny riders, Sam, Daniel, and Petter, rocket skyward. The wind slams against Daniel's chest, stealing his breath. He clings tight, heart pounding, as the colossal cliff face unfurls before him. Jagged ridges, deep cracks, knife-sharp ledges. A natural labyrinth, both a death trap and, perhaps, the perfect snare for the giant eagles. Montage, days of labour, Daniel, inspired by the giant hunter's traps, sketches crude plans in the dirt. Warriors hammer wooden stakes soaked in resin into the rock. Huge nets of hemp, sinew and hide are woven and rigged with pulleys. Sharp stakes are set at angles in hidden crevices. False platforms are laid with moss and rotting leaves to disguise bait. Every detail is calculated. Anchor points buried deep. Ropes drawn taut to hidden ledges. Falcon riders rehearsing the exact moment to release the nets. The trap is ready. A narrow outcrop serves as the bait site. Slabs of meat, still steaming with fat, sizzle in the sun atop the false platform. Warriors crouch along the ridges, bows drawn, eyes strained toward the sky. Then they appear. Two dark shapes slice through the clouds. Eagles, enormous, circling, testing. Falcons screech and dive, drawing their attention lower. Hearts tighten in every chest. The predators wheel closer, eyes flashing. One falcon dares to land on the platform, tearing at the meat. For a breathless instant, everyone waits. But the eagles hesitate. They circle, faint, then suddenly dive. Dust explodes. A warrior nearly falls from his mount. clinging desperately to feathers. Screams echo. Then, just as suddenly, the eagles pull away, vanish into the edge of the clouds. Silence. Then a ripple of despair. The bait is not enough. The tribe gathers, grim. Warrior 1, I will be the bait. Warrior 2, no, me. Voices clash, fearless and desperate to avenge their kin. Daniel rises sharply, silencing them. Daniel, no. This was my plan. I'll take the risk. If it fails, the fault is mine. No more of you will die for this. Peta shouts, fists clenched. Peta, then let me go in your place. Daniel grips his shoulder, firm but gentle. Daniel, no, Peta. Trust me. This time, it has to be me. Sam steps forward, face lined with concern. Sam, I cannot let an outsider throw his life away for us. If anyone is bait, it should be me. Daniel, Sam, I built this trap. I know how it works. I'll lure it by moving along the ledge, brushing the false moss, crying out like wounded prey. That's what will draw it in. And when it strikes, you'll spring the net. Sam studies him, eyes hard. Sam, can you promise you'll signal at the right moment? That no one will pull too soon? Daniel meets his gaze, unwavering. Daniel, I promise. I'll be tied with ropes, watched from above. Peta will stand below to guard me. No one else will pay the price for my plan. A long silence. Then Sam exhales heavily. Sam, so be it. But every precaution, every safeguard must be in place. At the first sign of danger, the net comes down. Understood. The warriors nod grimly. Peta clasps Daniel's hand, eyes wet. Sam raises his voice. Sam, prepare. Check every rope, every anchor. Tomorrow, we end this. The sky glows pale. Warriors line the ledges. Every knot, pulley, and stake has been checked thrice. Daniel stands bound in ropes, the knots pulled tight around him. Peta waits just below, pale but resolute. Above, the eagles circle, their shadows slicing the morning light. Daniel crouches, breath ragged, heart racing. Daniel, V.O. If I just wait, they'll never come. He draws his bow. Twang! An arrow hisses upward, grazing an eagle's feathers. The beast shrieks. Its gaze locks on Daniel. It folds its wings and plummets. The air howls. Daniel bolts along the jagged ledge, rocks tumbling into the abyss below. The eagle's shadow engulfs him, talons stretching wide, death itself descending. Peta Daniel. Daniel leaps straight onto the moss-covered platform. Crash! The trap springs. The false floor collapses, hidden stakes thrust upward. The eagle impales itself, spears driving deep through its armor of feathers. It thrashes, wings beating like thunder, shrieks shaking the sky. But the more it fights, the deeper the spikes bite. With a final scream, the beast collapses. Blood runs dark over the stone. The second eagle screams in fury, then fear. It wheels once, twice, then flees, vanishing beyond the clouds. Ropes haul Daniel to safety. He collapses, gasping, drenched in sweat. Peta flings his arms around him, laughing and weeping all at once. The tribe erupts in cheers. Warriors leap from falconbacks, shouting in triumph. Sam stands still for a long moment, then bows his head. Sam, to himself, a true hero. The carcass of the eagle sprawls across the rocks, wings outstretched like a fallen titan. Warriors rush forward, gathering spoils, gleaming talons, vast feathers, the massive beak, all trophies of victory. The fire blazes brighter than ever. Music, drums, laughter shake the stone walls. A feast greater than any before fills the cavern. Sam raises his voice above the din. Sam, Daniel, Peta. Today you fought with us, and you triumphed. You are no longer outsiders. Stay, live here as brothers. The tribe roars in approval, voices echoing like thunder. But Daniel shakes his head, steady and firm. Daniel, thank you. But we still have a road to walk, the road to the promised land. Peta steps forward, hand on his friend's shoulder. Peta, we carry this dream not for ourselves alone, but for our people. We must go on. The cavern falls silent. Sam regards them long and hard, then nods slowly. Sam. Then hear me. The promised land lies beyond the Aridia Desert, the land of endless sandstorms. My brother Nathan once sought it. He swore he glimpsed its light at the desert's edge, but he never returned. Daniel freezes. Daniel Nathan? He was your brother? Sam frowns, puzzled. Sam? Yes, the greatest falcon rider of our tribe. But you know him? Daniel's voice trembles. Daniel. He saved me. Without Nathan, I would not be here. He was my guide, my redeemer. Peta stares in awe. Peta, so the Nathan we met was your kin? Sam's face softens, grief and recognition mingling. Sam, then fate has bound us together. And if Nathan's path led into Aridia, perhaps yours must too. Daniel clenches his fists, eyes blazing. Daniel, V.O. Even if the desert devours me, I will find the promised land and Nathan's trace. The entire tribe gathers to send them off. At the center stands the mightiest falcon of all, its wings glowing golden under the rising sun. Sam, this is our finest bird. From this day, it is yours. May it carry you closer to the promised land. Daniel lays a trembling hand on its warm feathers. Daniel, it will understand a brave heart. That is enough. Peta laughs, stroking its massive beak. Peta, from here on, our lives are in your wings, friend. The brothers climb onto its back. The falcon spreads its wings, wind roaring like thunder. The tribe waves, cheering, flutes singing their farewell. Daniel and Peta turn, raise their hands high in salute. Then the falcon surges upward, vanishing into the boundless sky. Two tiny riders, carried toward the desert of Aridia, and the shining promise that awaits beyond. For 3 days, the falcon glides in short bursts, resting on lonely outcrops between seas of dying grass. By day, it rides warm air currents. By evening, it hides in the long shadows of sandstone ridges. Dawn after dawn, the horizon shifts, from pale dust to towering golden dunes. Before them lies Aridia, a living ocean of sand. Dunes heave like waves, glittering under the merciless sun. Weathered stone pillars stand like sentinels, their shadows fractured across the blinding white. The air is so dry it crackles. Each grain of sand rattles like broken glass. The falcon lands near a sandstone cleft. Daniel leans against the rock, replaying Sam's warning in his mind. Sam, V.O. Aridia kills with 3 blades. Heat and cold, sandstorms and thirst. Peta nods, repeating the rules like a prayer. He unpacks their supplies. Water skins sealed with wax. Filtering reeds, black cloth for head wraps, dried meat, flint, thread, thorny branches for fire. They prepare carefully, wrapping faces, sealing water tight, draping the falcon in a sand-coloured cloth. Daniel checks the wind by letting sand run through his fingers. Daniel, the wind's steady. We'll fly low, follow the shadows. Peta, eyes fierce above his scarf, and drink to live, not to quench. The falcon surges forward, carrying them into the golden abyss. Montage. Days in Aridia. Morning flights. Noon hiding beneath stone ledges. Evening marches across cooling sand. Daniel checks water with a tap on the skins. Peta measures ration by sound. By day, heat scorches like a white blade. By night, cold bites to the bone. They huddle beneath furs, pressed to the falcon's warmth. Above, stars blaze like frost over the desert. XT, desert. Afternoon. Daniel halts, staring at the horizon. Darkness swells, a wall of swirling sand rising like a beast. Daniel, sandstorm. Get down. The falcon dives into a rock fissure. They throw furs over the entrance. The world explodes. Wind howls, sand lashes stone like a million knives. Daniel and Peta press flat, clutching each other, while the falcon spreads its wings as a shield. Time shatters. Then, silence. When they crawl out, the desert is remade, dunes twisted, the sky bleeding red with sunset. Daniel collapses in relief. Peta laughs shakily, half tears, half joy. The falcon shakes sand from its feathers, eyes burning bright. They have survived their first storm. The sky is copper when they see it, black shapes half buried in gold. They descend. Dozens of giants lie scattered, bodies broken, wagons shattered, colossal water jars cracked and bleeding into the sand. A graveyard of the storm. Peta. My God. An entire caravan, buried alive. Then, a sound. Voice. OS. Water. Water. Daniel sprints toward it. A giant, gaunt and sunken-eyed, lies dying. Daniel's voice rings out. Daniel, we can save them. Peta, terrified. No! If they wake, they'll crush us like insects. We need to leave. Daniel, no. They're dying. We have to try. Together, they strain to roll a massive water skin. With the falcon's help, they drag it to the giant's lips. Daniel hacks the seal open. A stream pours out. Daniel, drink. Now. The giant swallows greedily, life surging back with every gulp. Daniel and Peta repeat the act with others, dragging, prying, bleeding themselves dry in effort. One giant stirs, staggering to his knees, eyes wild. Giant food. Food. His gaze locks onto the tiny figures. With a guttural roar, he lunges, hand sweeping like a falling tree. Daniel rolls aside at the last instant. The giant crashes down in the sand, stunned. Peta, crying out. See? I told you. They'll kill us if we stay. Daniel, breath ragged, refuses to back down. Daniel, no. It's hunger, not hate. Help me. Find the food. They scramble to broken wagons, prying loose sacks of beans, bread, and salted meat. With the falcon's aid, they scatter crumbs and chunks before the writhing giants. Hands the size of boulders tremble, grabbing at morsels, chewing, swallowing. Slowly, the raving turns to steady breaths. Daniel wipes sweat from his brow. Daniel, there, you see? They only needed life given back. Peta watches warily as one giant pushes himself upright. He towers, a shadow over them both, eyes bloodshot, but lucid now. He kneels, studying the tiny saviors at his feet. His voice rasps, cracked but clear. Giant food. Water. Who did this? He looks down, and his eyes widen in disbelief. Giant. The little ones? No. It cannot be. You saved us? Daniel and Peta freeze, breath caught, waiting for his next word. For 3 days, the falcon glides in short bursts, resting on lonely outcrops between seas of dying grass. By day, it rides warm air currents. By evening, it hides in the long shadows of sandstone ridges. Dawn after dawn, the horizon shifts, from pale dust to towering golden dunes. Before them lies Iridia, a living ocean of sand. Dunes heave like waves, glittering under the merciless sun. Weathered stone pillars stand like sentinels, their shadows fractured across the blinding white. The air is so dry it crackles. Each grain of sand rattles like broken glass. The falcon lands near a sandstone cleft. Daniel leans against the rock, replaying Sam's warning in his mind. Sam, V.O. Iridia kills with 3 blades. Heat and cold, sandstorms, and thirst. Peta nods, repeating the rules like a prayer. He unpacks their supplies, water skins sealed with wax, filtering reeds, black cloth for head wraps, dried meat, flint, thread. thorny branches for fire. They prepare carefully, wrapping faces, sealing water tight, draping the falcon in a sand-coloured cloth. Daniel checks the wind by letting sand run through his fingers. Daniel, the wind's steady. We'll fly low, follow the shadows. Peta, eyes fierce above his scarf, and drink to live, not to quench. The falcon surges forward, carrying them into the golden abyss. Montage, days in Iridia, morning flights, noon hiding beneath stone ledges, evening marches across cooling sand. Daniel checks water with a tap on the skins. Peta measures ration by sound. By day, heat scorches like a white blade. By night, cold bites to the bone. They huddle beneath furs, pressed to the falcon's warmth. Above, stars blaze like frost over the desert. Daniel halts, staring at the horizon. Darkness swells, a wall of swirling sand rising like a beast. Daniel, sandstorm, get down. The falcon dives into a rock fissure. They throw furs over the entrance. The world explodes. Wind howls. Sand lashes stone like a million knives. Daniel and Peta press flat, clutching each other, while the falcon spreads its wings as a shield. Time shatters. Then, silence. When they crawl out, the desert is remade. Dunes twisted, the sky bleeding red with sunset. Daniel collapses in relief. Peta laughs shakily, half tears, half joy. The falcon shakes sand from its feathers, eyes burning bright. They have survived their first storm. The sky is copper when they see it, black shapes half buried in gold. They descend. Dozens of giants lie scattered, bodies broken, wagons shattered, colossal water jars cracked and bleeding into the sand, a graveyard of the storm. Peta. My God, an entire caravan, buried alive. Then, a sound. Voice. OS. Water. Water. Daniel sprints toward it. A giant, gaunt and sunken-eyed, lies dying. Daniel's voice rings out. Daniel, we can save them. Peta, terrified. No, if they wake, they'll crush us like insects. We need to leave. Daniel, no. They're dying. We have to try. Together, they strain to roll a massive water skin. With the falcon's help, they drag it to the giant's lips. Daniel hacks the seal open. A stream pours out. Daniel, drink. Now. The giant swallows greedily, life surging back with every gulp. Daniel and Peta repeat the act with others, dragging, prying, bleeding themselves dry in effort. One giant stirs, staggering to his knees, eyes wild. Giant food. Food. His gaze locks onto the tiny figures. With a guttural roar, he lunges, hand sweeping like a falling tree. Daniel rolls aside at the last instant. The giant crashes down in the sand, stunned. Peta, crying out, "See? I told you. They'll kill us if we stay." Daniel, breath ragged, refuses to back down. Daniel, no! It's hunger, not hate. Help me, find the food. They scramble to broken wagons, prying loose sacks of beans, bread, and salted meat. With the falcon's aid, they scatter crumbs and chunks before the writhing giants. Hands the size of boulders tremble, grabbing at morsels, chewing, swallowing. Slowly, the raving turns to steady breaths. Daniel wipes sweat from his brow. Daniel. There, you see? They only needed life given back. Peta watches warily as one giant pushes himself upright. He towers, a shadow over them both, eyes bloodshot but lucid now. He kneels, studying the tiny saviours at his feet. His voice rasps, cracked but clear. Giant food, water. Who did this? He looks down, and his eyes widen in disbelief. Giant, the little ones? No, it cannot be. You saved us? Daniel and Peta freeze, breath caught, waiting for his next word. A groan escapes from cracked lips. A giant, half buried in sand, whispers hoarsely, "Giant," weakly to himself. Am I dreaming? Or have the gods sent these tiny beings to save me? Around him, other giants stir. Some scramble toward broken water flasks, wrenching the lids open, gulping desperately. Others stagger through the dunes, crying out hoarsely for wives, for children. Voices roar with panic and grief. The desert fills with chaos. Gasps, the snap of corks, sobbing reunions as loved ones are found still breathing. Gradually, the frenzy subsides. The survivors gather in a circle, their eyes turning toward the first giant who woke. A grey-bearded titan steps forward, voice rough with exhaustion. Grey-bearded giant, was it you? Did you save us? The first survivor shakes his head, slowly lifting one trembling hand, pointing toward a boulder where Daniel and Peta crouch. Gasps ripple through the ring of giants. Dozens of eyes, like blazing torches, fix on the two tiny figures. Giant voice, OS. Them? Those little ones saved us? Another giant kneels, palm open in a gesture of invitation. Daniel breathes deep, then steps forward. He climbs onto the broad hand, standing firm, though dwarfed by the giant's gaze. Kneeling, giant, awed, doubtful. Is it true? Did you really save us? Daniel simply nods. No words, just a steady, fearless nod. Murmurs erupt. Astonishment, disbelief. Giant voices, overlapping. Tiny ones here? Impossible? Yet they gave us water. They gave us bread. The circle of giants buzzes with awe. The first survivor, eyes burning with newfound strength, steps ahead. First giant, solemnly. We will find our way out of this nightmare. Will you come with us? Daniel does not hesitate. He nods firmly. Peta explodes, voice cracking with fear. Peta, are you mad? Go with these giants. The moment they regain their strength, they'll crush us like insects. Daniel leaps down from the giant's hand, landing beside his brother. He grips Peta's shoulders, calm but resolute. Daniel, don't you see? Our eagle, our friend. He's exhausted. He turns, eyes softening at the sight of the great bird. Its silver feathers droop, wings trembling, breath laboured after days of flight. Peta falls silent, memories flashing. The bird shielding them in storms, sharing water drop by drop, carrying them across the burning sands. Together, the brothers approach. Their tiny hands stroke the warm feathers at its neck. Daniel, softly. You've done all you can. Go home, back to your kin. Thank you. For everything. Peta presses his forehead against the bird's chest. Peta, whispering. We'll never forget you. The eagle gazes at them, golden eyes gleaming with understanding. Then it throws back its head, letting out a piercing cry that echoes across the desert. Its wings unfurl, stirring a storm of sand, and in a heartbeat it soars upward, smaller, smaller, until it vanishes into the blazing sky. Daniel and Peta watch silently. A chapter has closed. Ahead lies only the giants and the desert. The giants labour to rebuild shattered wagons, salvaging sacks of food, gathering the wounded. Faces are heavy with grief. 3 of their kin gone forever, much of their treasure buried beneath the dunes. Night falls. A massive fire blazes. Giants share roasted meat, breaking pieces off and placing them gently before Daniel and Peta. For the first time, the 2 brothers sit among them as companions. The giants speak of the storm, how it struck without warning, how they were swept away, buried alive. They admit they thought death was certain, until the 2 little ones appeared, like omens of hope. Daniel gestures, struggling to communicate. The giants laugh, mistaking his signs for dancing, clapping their massive hands. Laughter rolls across the desert, louder than the wind. The sun barely risen. The caravan prepares. No wagons, no horses, only weary legs. A kind giant lifts Daniel and Peta, settling them onto his broad shoulder. Kind giant, warmly. When the sun burns too hot, crawl into my pouch. Don't fight it. From high above, the world stretches endless, waves of gold beneath a merciless sky. Peta, softly to Daniel. Never in my life did I dream we'd march with giants. Daniel chuckles, a flicker of hope shining in his eyes. Days blur, scorching heat by day, freezing winds by night. They follow the stars, which Peta calls the desert's compass. Then it comes. The horizon darkens, a black wall rising. Wind screams, sand twists into towers, a sandstorm. Panic erupts. The caravan falters, nowhere to hide in the open desert. The kind giant who carried the brothers snatches them up, tucks them into his pouch. Kind giant, roaring. Stay inside, I will protect you. Int, pouch, continuous darkness. Sand rattles like 1,000 knives against the cloth. The pouch whirls violently. Peta grips Daniel's hand. Peta, shaking, whispering. Daniel, I've never been this afraid. The storm hits. The world spins. Wagons, giants, everything is sucked into the vortex, tossed like toys. Inside, the brothers slam against the fabric. Daniel's vision blurs. Peta's scream is lost in the roar. The pouch jerks violently. The last thing Daniel feels is the giant's desperate hand clinging to the cloth before darkness swallows them whole. The scorching wind has long faded, leaving behind an eerie stillness. The story of Daniel's adventure is not over yet. Find out what happens next in the following video.